Hey guys, this is Mrs. Taylor. Welcome to Little Lessons, Big Impact. This is my very first episode, which is honestly a little exciting and a little nerve-wracking, but I'm really glad you're here. I created this as a space where we can talk about simple things that actually make a big difference, especially for students, parents, and classrooms. So today, we're starting with something that plays a really big role in learning, even though we don't always think of it that way, and that is social emotional learning, or SEL, specifically focusing on big feelings and how kids can learn to manage them. So first, just to ground us a little bit, what is SEL? SEL stands for social emotional learning, and it focuses on helping students understand their emotions, manage those emotions, build relationships, and make responsible decisions. And this is really important because learning is not just academic. If a student is feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, anxious, or upset, it becomes really difficult for them to focus, stay engaged, or even try. So when we talk about big feelings, we're really talking about helping students be successful learners, not just in school, but in life itself. So when I say big feelings, I'm talking about emotions that feel really strong and happen really quickly. Things like frustration, anger, sadness, anxiety. And I want you to think about this for a second. Have you ever been working on something and it's just not clicking? You just cannot get it no matter what you do, and suddenly you feel like giving up? Or something small happens. Your coffee got cold. Late to work. Your reaction feels way bigger than you expected. That's a big feeling, and that is completely normal. Big feelings usually happen when something feels important, challenging, or unexpected. But there's also something else going on that's really important to understand, especially when we are talking about kids. The part of the brain that is responsible for emotions develops earlier than the part that is responsible for reasoning and self-control. But what does that mean? That means that kids often feel things very strongly before they're able to fully manage or regulate those feelings. So when a student reacts quickly or emotionally, it's not just behavior, it's development. They're still learning how to handle those reactions. Another important part of this is recognizing that emotions don't just happen in our thoughts. They happen in our bodies too. So a student might notice their heart beating faster, their muscles tightening, their face feeling warm. Their breathing could even change. And when that happens, that is their body signaling that something feels overwhelming or important. So instead of thinking through the entire situation calmly, they're reacting really fast. So I want you to pause for a second and think about this. The last time you felt really frustrated or upset, what was happening? What did your body feel like? What did you want to do in that moment? That's awareness. Just noticing those feelings is actually the first step in learning how to manage them. So now let's talk about what we can actually do to help manage big feelings. And these are strategies that can be used in both the classroom and at home. The first strategy is deep breathing. And while it sounds simple, it's actually helping regulate the nervous system. When a student slows their breathing, it sends a signal to the brain that it's okay to calm down. And that creates a space for thinking instead of reacting. So take a deep breath in and out. The second strategy is allowing students to take a break. And this is something that's really important to normalize. Taking a break is not avoiding the task. It's helping the brain reset so the student can come back ready to try again. This is something that could be sitting quietly, moving to a calm space, or even just stepping away briefly. Another key part of SEL is helping the student put their feelings into words. Because when students can label their emotions, they're more likely to manage them. Instead of reacting, they can say, "I'm frustrated. This is hard for me. I need help." And that shift from reacting to communicating, that's a really important skill. The next strategy is encouraging students to try again. but in small, manageable steps, not expecting them to fix everything right away, but helping them take one small step forward. This builds confidence and helps students see that they can work through those challenges. Another really important idea to teach students is this: feelings don't last forever. In the moment, yes, a big feeling, it can feel huge. It can feel like it's going to last all day. But when a student understands that feelings come and go, it helps them stay more in control. One more strategy that's really important, especially in younger students, is something called co-regulation. This means that sometimes kids need a calm adult to help them calm down. Before they can regulate themselves, they learn by being around someone who is calm, patient, and supportive. So that might look like a teacher speaking calmly, sitting with a student, helping them take a breath, or just reminding them that they're okay. Over time, students learn to do things like this on their own. These strategies matter because they show up in everyday situations. For example, a student working on a difficult assignment might feel overwhelmed and want to give up. Instead, they can pause, take a deep breath, ask for help, and try a smaller part. Or if a student is having a conflict with a peer, instead of reacting immediately, they can take a moment, use their words, and communicate what they're feeling. And this is something you'll see a lot in classrooms. A student might shut down during work time, not because they don't want to do it, but because they're feeling really overwhelmed. And once you slow things down, talk through it, and give them a small step, you can actually see that shift happen. They go from, I can't do this, to, okay, maybe I can try. And that is a really powerful moment. And this is why social emotional learning matters so much. Because when students learn how to manage their emotions, they're not just improving behavior, they're building the ability to stay engaged, to problem solve, and to keep trying even when things are hard. And those are skills that impact learning in every subject. So before we finish, I want you to think about this. The next time you or a student experience a big feeling, what is one strategy you could try? Not everything at once, just one. Because small steps over time are what lead to real growth. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for listening to my very first episode on Little Lessons, Big Impact. I'm really glad you were here, and I hope this gave you a few simple but meaningful tools that can truly make a difference.